Welcome, gents. The most dangerous man is the one who doesn't need to be followed, liked, or feared, but still commands respect without asking for it. There's a quiet intensity that surrounds Sigma males. You can't always explain it, but you feel it. They don't talk just to be heard. They don't compete to prove a point. And they don't play roles to win approval. They live by their own rhythm, unapologetic, focused, and deeply self-aware. While alpha males chase the spotlight and dominate through loud presence, Sigma males do something far more unsettling. They move in silence. They choose clarity over control. They choose peace over power. And when something feels false, they'd rather walk away than force themselves to fit into it. That kind of independence is not only rare, it's intimidating. But here's the truth. If you've ever felt like you just couldn't follow the crowd no matter how hard you tried, if you've always questioned what others accepted without thought, if your mind tends to sit in the deeper layers of life, that's not isolation. That's strength in disguise. That's the Sigma code showing up in you. This isn't about being better than anyone. It's about being real when most people are still acting. Sigma males don't scare people because they try to. They scare people because they're free. Free from needing attention. Free from being controlled. Free from the expectations that trap most men. And that freedom, that's exactly what makes them unforgettable. Let's get started, gents. Number 1, walk away from power without hesitation. Most people spend their whole lives chasing power, status, and control. They fight to be seen, heard, and respected. They climb ladders. They play the game. And once they get a taste of influence, they cling to it hard, even if it drains them, even if it poisons them, even if it quietly destroys who they are. But Sigma males move differently. They are not attached to power. They use it, yes, but the moment it starts costing them their peace of mind, they let it go. No announcement, no drama, no second thoughts. If it feels like a cage, even if it's made of gold, they'll leave without looking back. This is what people don't understand. The Sigma male is not afraid to start over. He is not afraid to lose what others would kill to keep. He doesn't see power as something to worship. To him, it's just a tool. And if that tool becomes a burden, he drops it. Simple. This ability to walk away without hesitation confuses people. It scares them. Because it shows how little the Sigma is owned by anything or anyone. He cannot be controlled through status or rewards. He will not stay in a room just because it's full of important people. He does not care about titles. He only cares about freedom. Real freedom. The kind that comes from knowing you are not for sale. While alpha males chase more power, more dominance, more influence, the Sigma male watches from a distance. And if it starts to look like chaos dressed in success, he walks. And when he walks, he doesn't lose. He regains himself. That's the terrifying part. Not that he leaves, but that he can. That he has the strength to walk away from everything people are scared to lose and still sleep peacefully at night. Number 2, challenge their own ego. Most people spend their entire lives protecting their egos like it's their last defense. They build identities around being right, being admired, being untouchable. They avoid anything that could crack their self-image, especially the alpha male, who often wraps his whole sense of worth around dominance and pride. He guards it fiercely, as if losing face would destroy him. But the Sigma male, he takes a different path entirely. Instead of hiding behind his ego, he goes to war with it, not out of self-hatred, but out of a hunger to grow. He questions his thoughts. He calls himself out. He strips down everything he once believed about who he is and why he does what he does. Then he rebuilds, but only after burning through the lies. This level of self-confrontation is rare, and let's be honest, most people aren't built for it. Most people only want to be told they're good enough, strong enough, right enough. The Sigma male does not want comfort. He wants truth. Even if that truth stings, even if it means admitting he was wrong, even if it means realizing he was never who he thought he was. That's the terrifying part. You are dealing with a man who does not need to be the hero in his own story. He is willing to play the villain for a while if that's what it takes to wake up. He doesn't get stuck in a false version of himself just because others believe it. He would rather shatter the illusion and rebuild from the ground up than live in a lie. That kind of raw honesty with yourself, that kind of ruthless self-checking, it makes the Sigma untouchable. Not because he thinks he's perfect, but because he has nothing fake left to protect. And when a man has stripped himself of ego, no one can use it against him. Number 3, operate with no applause. Most people are addicted to being seen. They chase applause, likes, compliments, and recognition like it's air. They need feedback to feel real, to feel worthy. They perform, they post, they talk louder, they try harder. Because deep down they're afraid of being invisible. But Sigma males, they're a different kind of silent. They don't need a crowd to feel valuable. They don't measure their worth by how loud the applause is. In fact, they prefer to build, move, and grow without anyone watching. No spotlight, no backpats, just work done in the dark. This unnerves people because when someone doesn't care about attention, you can't control them. You can't bribe them with praise. You can't guilt them into staying by withholding validation. You can't flatter them into compliance. The usual social tricks fall flat. What makes this terrifying is that Sigmas aren't just low-key, they're untouchable. Their silence is not insecurity, it's self-sufficiency. It's calm confidence that doesn't need to be confirmed by anyone. That kind of detachment is powerful and rare. While others are performing their value, the Sigma is quietly becoming it. He's not chasing influence, but he ends up having it anyway. And the crazy part? He probably won't even notice or care. He doesn't need to be thanked. He doesn't need to be clapped for. His reward is internal. It's in the peace he gets from not being controlled. It's in the joy of doing what he believes in, with or without witnesses. And that's what people don't understand. Applause fades, recognition gets old, but when a man moves with purpose and doesn't need a crowd to clap for it, that's when he becomes dangerous. That's when he becomes unforgettable. Number 4, say no without guilt or explanation. For most people, saying no feels heavy. They tiptoe around it, they soften it, they apologize for it. They try to explain themselves so they don't upset anyone because deep down, they fear rejection. They fear being seen as rude, selfish, or difficult. So they say yes when they really mean no and end up drained, resentful, and confused about why their lives feel so out of control. Sigma males, they don't play that game. They say no with the same calm energy they use to breathe. No drama, no extra words, no fake smiles, just no. And then they move on like it was never a big deal, because to them it's not. They're not cold, they're just clear. They've spent enough time alone thinking deeply, getting to know themselves, that their boundaries are solid. They don't need to explain why they're protecting their peace. They don't need permission to protect their time. They don't sugarcoat a decision that already feels right to them. To people pleasers, this is shocking. It feels emotionless, almost robotic, but it's not. It's just emotional discipline. Sigma males have mastered the art of not letting guilt shape their lives, and that's terrifying for those who live their lives trying not to disappoint others. What most don't realize is that every time you say yes to something that doesn't feel right, you're saying no to yourself. Sigma males understand this. And that's why their no is sharp, fast, and unapologetic. It's not personal, it's self-respect. And here's the wild truth. When you stop explaining your no, you start teaching people how to respect your time, your energy, and your mind. That's why the Sigma's no doesn't just stop requests. It stops manipulation. It draws a line. And once that line is drawn, they never have to raise their voice to enforce it. Number 5, go against the tribe, even if it costs everything. Most people will do almost anything to belong. They want to be accepted, to feel part of something, even if it means biting their tongue, going along with things they don't believe in, or pretending to agree just to avoid being left out. Being part of the tribe gives them a sense of safety, a sense of identity. They fear losing that more than they fear losing themselves, but Sigma males are wired differently. They don't just resist the pressure to conform, they actively question it. And if something feels off, if a trend feels empty or a group starts moving blindly in one direction, the Sigma won't just stay behind. He'll walk the other way entirely, even if it costs him his reputation, even if it means walking alone. What makes this so powerful is that he doesn't rebel to be edgy. He rebels because truth matters to him more than approval. He would rather be the outcast who's right with himself than the accepted man who's lying to fit in. Most people are terrified of being alone. Sigmas are terrified of becoming fake, and that's what separates them. When the crowd is cheering one thing and the Sigma feels it's hollow or false, he won't nod along, he'll call it out. Or worse, he'll stay silent, detach, and remove himself from it completely. That silence? It says more than any protest could. He understands something most don't. Belonging means nothing if it requires you to abandon who you are. So when the tribe starts to lose its soul, the Sigma walks away without hesitation. No applause, no backup, just one man fully aware of what it'll cost him and still willing to pay it. That kind of inner loyalty is rare, and for those who follow the crowd blindly, it's downright terrifying. Number 6, keep secrets even from those closest to them. Most people wear their thoughts like open windows. You spend enough time around them and you can read them easily. Their fears, their hopes, even their next move. It's all written on the surface. They vent, they overshare, they explain themselves even when no one asks. It gives others a sense of control. Predictability feels safe. But Sigma males don't operate that way. They carry a different kind of silence. It's not awkward or shy, it's intentional, calculated. There are entire parts of their mind they never reveal, not to friends, not to lovers, not even to the people closest to them, not out of malice, but out of discipline. Because to the Sigma, privacy is power. You can sit across from a Sigma male for years thinking you know him. But just when you think you've figured him out, he does something that completely rewrites the script. Not impulsive, not erratic, just something that was always part of his plan, and you were never meant to see it coming. That level of mystery makes people uneasy. We're wired to feel safe around people we can predict. But the Sigma male doesn't offer that comfort. His emotional world is not up for public viewing. His next move is no one's business. That unpredictability, it's not chaos, it's control. He doesn't keep secrets to be deceptive. He keeps them to protect the one thing he values most, his autonomy. Because once people know too much about you, they start shaping your decisions, even if they don't mean to. The Sigma refuses to give anyone that kind of influence, and that's what makes him quietly terrifying. You don't know how much he's observing, you don't know what he's planning, you don't even know what he's fully capable of. And by the time you realize it, he's already 5 steps ahead, calm, quiet, and impossible to pin down. Number 7, ignore rules if the logic fails. Most people follow rules without thinking. If it's written down, stamped, or spoken by someone in authority, they accept it. Not because it makes sense, but because it's easier. Following the rules gives them a sense of order, even if that order is flawed. It saves them from having to question or take responsibility for their own choices. Sigma males don't see the world that way. To them, rules are not sacred. They're suggestions, temporary, flawed, and often built for people who refuse to think for themselves. If something feels off, if a rule goes against their internal compass, they don't argue, they don't complain, they simply don't follow. Not out of rebellion, but out of calm indifference. They're not trying to prove a point. They're not making noise, they're just walking their own path. And if that path means breaking tradition, ignoring outdated systems, or stepping out of line, they do it without hesitation. No drama, no need for permission. What people don't understand is that Sigma males don't crave chaos. They crave clarity. If a rule serves a purpose, they'll respect it. If it doesn't, it's irrelevant. They're not loyal to systems, they're loyal to reason. And if reason is missing, so is their compliance. This unnerves the world, because systems thrive on predictability. But Sigma males don't play predictable roles. You can't corner them with authority, and you can't shame them into obedience. They've already questioned what most people blindly accept. And that quiet refusal, that silent dismissal of rules that don't serve truth or logic, that's what makes them dangerous in a world built on blind obedience. They are not trying to break the system. They've just already outgrown it. Number 8, never play social chess. They flip the whole board. Most people spend their lives learning how to play the social game. They watch what to say, when to speak, who to impress, and how to move their way up the invisible ladder. It's all strategy. Polished smiles, calculated words, knowing when to nod, when to step back, and when to strike. Alpha males thrive in this space. They live for the game, always trying to dominate the board. Sigma males, they walk up to the table, look at the pieces, and calmly flip the whole thing over. They're not interested in playing a game they didn't choose. They don't want to climb some hierarchy built on ego, image, and politics. Instead of trying to outplay others, they question the game itself. Why does it even exist? Who really benefits from it? And what would life look like if they built something completely different? That's what sets them apart. They don't compete for position because they don't even want to be in the room where that kind of performance is required. While others chase attention and rank, Sigmas are off creating their own world, one with no audience, no scoreboard, and no scripts. And here's the part that shakes people: it works. While everyone's busy trying to win by the old rules, the Sigma quietly rewrites them. And suddenly he's doing things his way, answering to no one, succeeding on his own terms, and not a single soul saw it coming, because they were too busy playing chess, and he was busy building a different board altogether. This isn't rebellion for the sake of rebellion, it's clarity. Sigmas know the cost of following a system that was never meant to serve them, so they leave it behind, not out of anger, but out of quiet understanding that freedom is worth more than power. Number 9, feel no need to be understood. Most people have a deep, quiet fear of being misunderstood. They want to be seen accurately, heard clearly, and accepted fully. So they explain, they defend, they overshare, they try to correct every wrong impression, desperate to be seen in the right light. Even strong personalities often need others to get them to feel valid. Sigma males don't carry that need. They move through life knowing that most people will never fully understand them, and they're perfectly fine with that. In fact, they prefer it. There's no urgency to explain who they are, why they do what they do, or what they believe. If someone misunderstands them, they won't waste energy trying to correct it. They simply let it be. That kind of peace with being misunderstood, it's unsettling to people. Because when someone doesn't need your approval or even your understanding, you realize you have no leverage. You can't guilt them. You can't flatter them. You can't use your opinion as currency. It doesn't hold value in their world. This isn't arrogance. It's emotional independence. Sigma males aren't chasing connection at any cost. They'd rather be real and misread than polished and accepted. That's a level of authenticity most people never reach because they're too busy managing how they're perceived. The Sigma knows perception is just noise. He knows that explaining himself often dilutes the truth, so he doesn't bother. He lets people talk, assume, judge, and he keeps moving. That silence, that refusal to be pulled into the drama of defending his character, speaks louder than any explanation ever could. And that's what unnerves the world. He's not hiding. He's just not performing. He is who he is, with or without your understanding. And deep down, people know they can't touch a man like that, because he's not playing the same game everyone else is. Number 10, refuse to compete for a position they could easily win. Most people chase recognition like it's the ultimate prize. They want to win, and they want everyone to see them win. It's not just about achieving something, it's about being seen doing it. Titles, trophies, applause. For many, that's what success looks like. The alpha male thrives here, competing, climbing, proving his worth in front of an audience. But the Sigma male doesn't play that way. He could compete. He could dominate if he wanted to. He often has the skill, the insight, and the focus to rise to the top with ease. But he simply chooses not to. Not because he's afraid to lose, but because the whole game looks pointless to him. He sees the noise, the ego battles, the constant need to impress, and he's unmoved. While everyone else is fighting for a crown, he's quietly building his own kingdom somewhere no one thought to look. And when it's done, it speaks for itself. What makes this terrifying to others is how little the Sigma cares about being seen. He doesn't crave the spotlight. He doesn't need a title to confirm his value. He'd rather move quietly, work deeply, and create something real, something that lasts. Not because he needs to prove anything, but because that's just who he is. And the wild part? His private wins often end up dwarfing the loudest public victories. That's the power of not needing to compete. While others exhaust themselves trying to be number one, the Sigma skips the race entirely and builds something so far ahead of the curve, no one even realizes it until it's too late. He's not avoiding the competition out of fear. He's avoiding it because he sees through it. And when you don't need to compete to know your worth, you become someone the world can't ignore, even if you never asked to be noticed. Number 11, question authority in the authority's face. Most people are taught from a young age to obey, to follow the rules, to respect the system, to never question those in charge. Whether it's at school, work, or in society, there's this silent agreement. Keep your head down, stay in line, and maybe you'll be rewarded later. Alpha males rise by playing that game. They learn the structure, master the system, and climb their way to the top. But Sigma males, they look at the whole structure and ask the one question nobody dares to say out loud: why does this even exist? And they don't whisper it behind closed doors. They say it right to the faces of those who built it. That's what makes them so unsettling. Sigma males are not impressed by titles. They're not moved by someone's position. They don't care how many people stand behind you if what you're saying makes no sense. If something feels outdated, pointless or fake, they will challenge it calmly, directly, without raising their voice and without fear. They're not trying to cause chaos, they're trying to expose the truth. And when you're someone who questions power, not because you want it, but because you see through it, you become a problem in a system that relies on blind obedience. What most people don't realize is that Sigma males don't need to rebel to feel powerful. They simply refuse to play along when something feels wrong. They won't fake respect just to get ahead. They'd rather stand alone than kneel to nonsense. This is the kind of energy that can't be controlled, it can't be manipulated, and it can't be silenced by position or punishment. Because when a man has already let go of the need to belong, the system loses its grip on him. That's not just rare, that's dangerous. Number 12, outgrow people without malice. They won't hate you. Most people think endings have to be loud, arguments, fallouts, slamming doors, harsh words. That's the version of separation they're used to. If someone distances themselves, it's assumed there must be anger behind it, a grudge, a wound, some emotional explosion waiting to happen. But Sigma males end things differently. They don't explode, they evolve. If a connection no longer aligns with where they're going, they don't force it, they don't cling, they don't make a scene, they simply shift, quietly, gently, with no announcement. One day they're present, the next they've moved into a different season, and you're no longer part of the chapter. It's not about ego, it's not about resentment, it's growth. And growth is often silent. Sigma males don't hate the people they leave behind. They don't waste energy on grudges or drama. They just recognize when something or someone is no longer nourishing their mind, soul, or peace. And they adjust, without permission, without guilt, without need for closure. And that's what makes it so unsettling. You can't argue with it. You can't fix it with a conversation. You can't pull them back in with guilt or flattery, because they're not walking away from you to hurt you. They're just walking towards something deeper within themselves. People are afraid of that kind of quiet departure. It forces them to realize that not every exit is about conflict. Sometimes it's about clarity. Sometimes it's just someone realizing they've outgrown the room they were once comfortable in. The Sigma male doesn't burn bridges, he just stops crossing them. And that silent, unprovoked, emotionally clean evolution, that's more powerful than any shouting match. That's what makes him unforgettable. Not because he stayed, but because when he left, he never looked back. In final words, the scariest kind of strength is the one that doesn't need to be seen to be real. If you've ever felt like you don't belong to any group, like you're watching the world play a game you were never interested in, that's not weakness. That's awareness. That's the early sign that you might be a Sigma male. Not someone who's antisocial, not someone trying to rebel, but someone who values truth, freedom, and depth more than power, plays, and attention. The terrifying things Sigma males do aren't about being loud or aggressive. They come from stillness, clarity, and a kind of internal power that can't be shaken. You walk away from things others are obsessed with. You say no without guilt. You don't beg to be understood. You grow, evolve, and move forward, even when no one notices. And when they finally do notice, it's already too late to catch up. You were never meant to compete in the games most people are trying to win. You were meant to step back, see the bigger picture, and build your own world from scratch. And yes, that path is quieter, it's lonelier, but it's also freer. Real strength isn't found in dominating others, it's found in mastering yourself. So if any of this feels like you, let this be your reminder. You're not behind, you're not missing out. You're just playing a different game entirely. And in a world full of noise, your silence is not an absence, it is presence, it is purpose, it is power. Thank you for watching, Gents, and God bless you.